Okay, I'll go ahead and start us off. So this is our week 10 demo. To start off, our problem, we wanted a game for people to play that makes AI image generation more inclusive and accessible. And our audience was specifically geared towards younger people who aren't as into AI to introduce them to it. And also because since we're teenagers, we could share our AI image generation game with people from our school and our friends. And then our solution to this problem was our AI image generation game, and Aaliyah will start us off with the demo.
So this is our project. When you can enter any guess for a prompt, and it'll pop up in the chat box on the top right. And then on our left, we have the image that's generated that you're trying to guess the prompt of.
So as for the backend for this website, we're using two separate APIs. The first one is a prompt API that just pulls from a text file to randomly pick a prompt. And then that prompt gets sent to our other API in order to actually generate this image. So it's a bit slow right now, but by reloading the page, you can get another image to guess on. And then I don't think it's fully implemented yet, but we were really hoping to have some way to like validate the guesses to see kind of what was going on or how close the person got. But that's how the backend works. And then Arian will talk about some of our technical experiences with the project.
So some technical stuff. So we learned how to make a project from scratch, set up our Git and GitHub, as well as JavaScript and Next.js. In general, like what we accomplished. So we originally had our MVP of our art studio, but we decided to shift gears and collaborate on a new idea, which we thought would be more fun. It was a long journey, but it's been fun and rewarding.
So I think our biggest takeaways as a group, number one, just learning that we all need to play a part to move our team's project forward, and just learning to rely on teammates in a new learning environment, because all of us were pretty new to like web development and programming. So that was one thing. And then also just the difficulties, learning the difficulties that come along as you work on a project in a team. We ended up losing one of our team members. So that was difficult. And then also just shifting gears, learning to think fast and keep things moving despite being behind.
And as for best practices in the project, we weren't extremely focused on it. As we kind of mentioned, we were a bit behind, but we still tried our best to like make it as good as possible in those aspects. We tried using Next.js to make it really modular, and so we could like work with the back end and front end easily very together. We were using PR reviews the entire time, as well as sprint meetings to try to figure out what we needed to complete for the next meeting and what we needed to have before these demo meetings. And then also just general coding things like naming conventions, having certain files named certain ways, all of those type of things. We really tried to utilize those in order to maximize the efficiency of our project.
And how we would integrate these learnings into a new plan. Just like realizing how important teammates are, as well as relying on them in communication. Having a steady plan and finishing sprints, as well as like not changing our idea at the very end. But at the end of it all, it was like really, really fun, and we learned a lot, and it was very rewarding.
All right, round of applause for our Keo Scribble team. Would love to hear a bit more about kind of like that reflection. So, definitely it sounds like we went through some challenges. Sounds like we made some learnings along the way. Would definitely love to hear a little bit more about, you guys were talking right about that there at the end, but, if you were to do this again, if you were to hop into a new project, some of the specifics of how do you think you'd be able to work better together as a team, or are there specific practices that you think would help there, any habits or any kind of like ways that you guys had collaborated that started to work, that you guys would try and implementing if you had another opportunity to do it again?
So I definitely feel like the over communication thing is something that personally I wasn't very good at. Just like in general, like just really communicating everything is something I'm not used to doing. Most of my projects have been like personal stuff. So having this thing, we started kind of getting towards it at the end of the project, but I definitely could have been more like communicative about how I was doing, what I needed help on, like timelines and where I was going to be at with stuff during the actual project. And that's definitely something I had to try to improve for next time.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian. At the beginning of the project, I kind of was scared to ask like for help a lot because I felt like I didn't want to burden my teammates. And then I ended up realizing that at the end of the day, it really just harms the whole entire team when you don't do that, because you can end up messing up and just like making or like hindering the project and making things last longer.